Hello, this is Chrissy. When I shared my flowers on Facebook recently, I had quite a few people ask if I would show how I had made them. Well, I've always been a little bit reluctant to do a video showing this for a couple of reasons. A, because I find doing videos like this quite stressful, they're quite difficult, and B, because it involves using a flame, and I've always just been, not that happy about sharing that. But anyway, here's my disclaimer. Please, I can't stress enough the need to be careful. Only yesterday when I was making flowers, I had an episode where the fabric caught fire, and I thought I'd put it out and threw it into my waste bin, and then looked around and see flames rising out of the bin. So please have water on hand and be careful. I thought I was, but I wasn't. So okay, so that's being said, now I don't like to use the word tutorial. Rather, I'm showing you how I make my flowers. How I make them is the term I prefer to use rather than tutorial. I've made these for many years, and these ones that you're looking at now are a few that I've got on hand at the moment. I like to call them fairy flowers. They're my fairy flowers. Okay, so we've said all that. Next thing is fabrics. So I'm going to move you now over to my desk. Here we are at my desk. Now bear in mind this is a working desk, so it's not that pretty underneath, but it gets a lot of use. I've just got a few notes here that I've written. Fabrics has been a learning curve for me. What doesn't work and what does. I can't actually tell you the names of the fabric. It's just been an experimental for me. Some will curl nicely, and some will go into flame. And so once again, be careful. You don't want to burn yourself. I've done that many a time too. I like to have plenty of layers in my flowers. You'll see these ones here that I showed you. There's, I think there's sort of 8 or so layers. I don't like them to be skimpy. I do like to add a variety of, fabrics. I think that makes them more interesting. So you've got to cut out your fabric into various sizes. Another thing is I don't like them to be perfect circles. I think if they're perfect circles, they don't look natural. Flowers aren't really perfect circles. They have petals. So when I'm cutting my fabrics, you can see by these ones here that I've prepared in advance. They're not perfect. Sometimes if I've got a strip of fabric, I'll concertina it up, like fold it backwards and forwards. Oh, here's a piece here. I'll just show you what I mean. You know what I mean anyway. Like that, and then cut a rough circle out of it so that you've got a whole lot. So I've done that here with some of these. Here we go. what else? So I'll just turn this off again while I have a think. This is the stress of doing videos. My camera just switched off. Now I don't know how much you saw, but okay, I did discover when I watched my video back that I had lost a very important part that I needed to show you, and this is what I think makes these flowers stand out from flowers that are just flat flat circles stacked on each other. This is my little trick. So here I've cinched around this piece, and you'll notice it's just a flat piece, and if I just layered several of these one on top of another, they wouldn't look, well, I wouldn't like the way they looked. So my little trick, and this is what it is, this is what I think is my secret little trick. Hold the fabric over the flame and put in about, in that one I've put it in 3 spots, and it just pinches it all up, and that is another one I've done. That just makes them sort of ripple. See, I've done it on all these, and I don't mind if it goes into a hole. I don't mind that at all. And depending on the size of the petal, whether I just do it in one spot or whether I do it in a few spots around the fabric. I'll just show you again. So that's just flat, and if you can imagine just flat petals, they don't look much. So just hold it above the flame. You'll soon get to know how far you need to hold it. And see how it pinches it in, and just makes the edge of the fabric look rippled. So there, I've told you my little trick. So I will insert this piece in where it's appropriate, and yeah, that's it. That's my little trick for getting the flowers to be more natural. This one here burns really funny. It just sort of, I don't know if you can see it going, but it ends up with a bit of a singed look to it, and I don't mind that, and I really don't mind if they have, I don't know if you can see that, holes in them like that. I think it just adds to sort of an ethereal look to them. I'll show you here what I mean. This is a lot of net that I like to, oh, that's hot on my hand, I'll move that out of the road. I like these. They have a really sort of, these are what I really call my fairy flowers, is the ones sort of almost like cobweb, and I like to layer those between the layers of fabric. I'll show you here. I was just playing with this one here, just see, there's different fabrics that I've used, and some of them, I mean, look at that. But I love that. I love the look of that. So I'll just start with one of the net ones. We'll put one of those, add one of these, and then some more net. It's just play. It's really like sort of similar to when we make the boho beads. It's just a matter of experimenting, and you know, there's no right and there's no wrong to how your flower should look. It's just really what. And that's another. This is just lace. This doesn't burn at all, so I've really just cut those into. I have this lace here, and I just cut it into circles, and that put in between some of the layers can look really pretty too. So you know, you can end up with something, you know, you just play. Another thing that I like to do is for the centers, I haven't spoken to you about the centers yet, but just take a small piece like this and sort of screw it up, put a stitch in it, and use that as a center. That's really pretty. I don't use hot glue. I tend to stitch them through with the needle and thread. I'm not going to bother showing you that because I'm sure you, well, here's one here, this one. I've stitched it through, right through, and this one I've added beads to the center, stitch those on, and some extra beads to the side. The centers can be, you know, that's fun too. You can use all sorts of things. This one I've used a little flower and some like eyelash thread. This one has got a little pretty gold center. So yes, I said I stitched them through, and then I use my Elmer's fabric glue, and sometimes I'll just add a dollop of glue to very lightly to around, you know, around the petals, just like I've done there, just to sort of hold it a little bit more. I don't like to use my hot glue. I prefer this. So combinations is really fun. What you can come up with, like for example here I've got some grain net, and I've used all different colours of grey. I mean, I just set these inside each other to show you, but it just this one I consider to be a boho flower. My fabrics, I source a lot of them from the op shop and their clothing, like these, this one here, this is a dress, and I can pick those up for, you know, $4, $3 or $4, and get a whole dress, and you know, cut them up. This little center here, this is from a dress that I bought at the op shop. I'll just show you, I've got it here. This, look at this. I don't know how anyone could wear that, it's very heavy. But this little center here in this flower this one here, I cut, this is these. So look at all those centres you've got on there. I just cut them out and singe the edges of them. See? So yeah, they're my boho flowers. This this one here, this was an old scarf, and you know, just layering them up like that. So many combinations. It's fun just playing. This one here, this would need something else in it, but these are just, this was a dress from the op shop. I think I paid $4 for it. I got I just love the colour of that, and I thought that looked rather sort of, I don't know, there's something nice about that combination. And this is another one with that net again, and satin. That's that satin I showed you there. And just would just layer those up and put probably that little centre from the dress in it. This one, I thought this was lovely too. This is very see how that, it's full of holes, but I just love the way it looks. It's, as I said, I find it sort of quite ethereal. And this, I would have probably just screwed that up and sewed that in there. Here's a combination of lavenders and purples and even a bit of the grey. I've probably put some netting between those just to, it's just play, it really is just play. And use your beads for the centres. And this is a black one here with a little bit of that dress. Another sort of a boho one, and I don't know what I'd put in the middle of that. Maybe I would scrunch up one of those bright pink ones and put in the middle. But that's about all I can tell you, really. I think I've covered it all. Yeah, have a bowl of water on hand if necessary. You know, you might need to dunk something in there. I'm not sure what else I can tell you. I think that's probably about everything. It's just being careful. I can't stress that enough. Having fun and playing with your combinations of flowers and fabrics and textures. That's how I've done it. I've just learnt what will burn nicely or singe nicely and what won't. That would be nice in there too. And just have fun doing it. So if you have any questions, just leave them below and I'll try and answer them for you. But that's it. Thanks very much for joining me today, and if you do make some flowers, I'd love to see them. Bye now.